Now that Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey has finally hit theaters, the collective internet is in a frenzy. Whether you think his 3-hour epic is absolute cinema or a total mess, one thing is clear. Nolan completely redefined the classic myth into a psychological thriller about PTSD and the brutal weight of wartime guilt. So if you just walked out of the theater and you're craving more of that dark, complex, and existential energy, you don't have to wait for the movie to come to streaming, as I've rounded up 5 of the best games that explore similar themes and concepts as Nolan's The Odyssey. When discussing Greek mythology and PTSD in video games, God of War has earned a mandatory mention, including both the original trilogy and later entries. In 2018's God of War and its sequel Ragnarok, you play as an older, weary Kratos navigating a harsh Scandinavian wilderness while facing off against violent Norse deities. These games perfectly capture the intense, unyielding guilt of Odysseus in Nolan's Odyssey, as Kratos is forced to confront his blood-soaked legacy from the original PlayStation trilogy. Instead of just slaughtering yet another pantheon, he's forced to face the ghosts of his past war crimes in Greece, all the while fighting to keep his son from repeating the same tragic mistakes.
Only fire! Only fire when I tell you to fire.
When the legendary Blades of Chaos inevitably do return to the screen, it isn't a cheap hype moment, it's a devastating relapse into the violence that ruined Kratos' life. His exhausting voyage across the 9 realms captures that precise Nolan dynamic of a haunted veteran who can never truly escape his past.
We're gonna fight that?
We have no choice.
Next up is the ultimate masterclass in non-linear storytelling, Hades 2. The story follows Melinoe, princess of the underworld, as she embarks on a desperate mission to rescue her family after Kronos, the Titan of Time, overthrows Olympus. Wielding dark sorcery and rapid-fire weaponry, Melinoe must fight through brutal, randomized combat chambers in order to breach the Titan's defenses.
Into the purse.
Between these high-stakes runs, you'll retreat to a hidden hub where you'll brew reality-altering spells and unlock permanent upgrades. This safe zone acts as your strategic staging ground, letting you bond with major mythical figures and plan your next deep dive into the underworld.
Who dares disturb my eternal rest? You trifle with powers far beyond your comprehension, witch.
That was pretty decent, right, Mel? Maybe pushing it. Calling you witch like that.
The entire structure feels like a Nolan script come to life, trapping you in a cyclical loop where time itself is the ultimate obstacle. Just like the film's version of the underworld, your journey in Hades 2 is a psychological pilgrimage, where every death forces you to reset, confront your failures, and fight to save your family.
Tell me you killed the bastard. Drove your staff into his wretched skull, slid a dagger in his gut. Not that he died from that. Works on mortals, though.
Moving on, Assassin's Creed Odyssey gives you the massive physical scale of Nolan's cinematic landscapes. You step into the sandals of a mercenary navigating the Peloponnesian War through open-world RPG progression, stealth mechanics, and faction warfare in order to shape history. The game honors Nolan's cinematic vision by letting you command a warship across a dark and isolating Aegean Sea. Your main questline perfectly echoes the film's core theme, ditching a simple adventure to focus on a decade-long struggle with exile, political conspiracies, and the desperate hope of reclaiming your throne. The core gameplay alternates between massive land battles involving hundreds of soldiers to deep exploration across sprawling biomes. As you would expect, exploring ancient ruins and fighting through historical Greece beautifully captures that grand, sweeping scale of a literal decade-long journey home.
There they are. I'll sneak up on the Malakes.
If you're looking for a gritty, indie perspective on Greek mythology, then Achilles' Legends Untold delivers the same raw realism that Nolan brought to the Trojan War. This is because the narrative ditches mythological romanticism for a bleak character study, forcing a legendary hero to claw his way out of Tartarus after being discarded by war.
Cast away your fear and fight bravely, and when the battle's dust settles, the glory of true heroes shall await you. To Troy!
Viewed from an isometric POV, the game challenges you to manage your stamina, time parries perfectly, and tactically shield slam your way through battles. Your journey across a war-torn, mythic landscape perfectly captures the physical toll, moral gray areas, and psychological exhaustion of a soldier facing endless aftermath.
One more wretched dog has slipped inside. Stop him!
For all your hard work in defeating enemies, you're rewarded with a wide pool of random loot, as well as skill points to hone your character's build. When you're not min-maxing stats and gear, you'll be combating centaurs, fighting rival legends, and rewriting Greek myth with raw violence.
If I could attract the Trojans' attention, it would give my men time to find a passage inside. I will challenge their commander, and if he's in his right mind, maybe I could convince him to give up Helen. I just need to get to the gate.
Finally, we arrive at the ultimate Greek myth hidden gem, Apotheon. This 2D action platformer offers brutal combat centered on deadly precision where you must manually aim attacks using various spears, swords, and shields. Mastering weapon trajectories and directional blocking mechanics makes every encounter in this game feel intensely calculated and rewarding. This is further complemented by a level design that plays out much like an open-ended Metroidvania, letting you explore massive, interconnected palaces and divine sanctuaries.
Forward! To the temple!
While Apotheon's pottery come-to-life aesthetic is uniquely its own, the story also hits on Nolan's ultimate thematic question: whether humanity can survive when the gods completely abandon them. As a result, our hero finds himself forced into a desperate and claustrophobic climb up Mount Olympus, beautifully capturing that bleak defiance against authority that anchors the entire third act of the Odyssey.
And so, a champion is born, a lone bright ember glowing from within a dying hearth. Arise, my chosen. Arise, Nicandrios.
One of the most compelling aspects of Nolan's adaptation is this idea that the real monsters in Homer's epic aren't the Cyclops, sirens, or witches, but rather the psychological wreckage left behind by war. So while fans and critics continue to argue about the film's reception online, these games let you live out the Odyssey's messy, fragmented dynamic for yourself. Did you watch the Odyssey? What did you think about it? Are you going to check out any of the games mentioned in this video? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. As always, I want to thank you for watching, liking, and subscribing. Till next time, take care and goodbye.